Hey, good morning, my shiny friends. Can you believe it's Friday already? Unreal. We're like killing it in 2025 already. 17 days in. And it's a Friday. The weekend's coming up. I live in Minnesota, as most of you know, and it is going to be unbelievably cold here coming up in a few days. So I'm not excited about that. Just trying to prepare as best you can, whatever that looks like and whatever that means in this state, is just it's frustrating for me, but it's just I live here and I like my family an awful lot, and so I'll probably stick around. But at any rate, we're gonna get into more of God's love manifest, and this has been in just a remarkable topic. I'm almost in tears right now. I was in tears yesterday in a message that I had received, and I just am very blessed by it, that message. I'm even more blessed by just the way that uh, such things as the tragedies of my life and my experiences can bless other people. It's just a remarkable and a great thing to be a part of. And so I thank you for that message yesterday. It meant a lot. Keep them coming. I mean, seriously, this is about, like I said many times now, and if you're new here, this is about just I'm going to be my natural roll out of bed self. It's not about like um, what we can do to divide anybody or put somebody on a different team than another or anything like that. It's very specifically about learning together, growing together. If you're not here to grow, this isn't going to be the place for you. And that's just the way it is. If you're here for a bunch of hyperbole and a bunch of you remember when Tom Cruise actually was jumping, I think wasn't on Oprah's couch or something like that, about Katie Holmes. You're not going to get that here. It's just about being down to earth, being real, being raw, being relevant. And so today we're going to talk about sadness is a drug. And I already got a text on that title. In disagreement of that, and I'm guessing that if you research this, I honestly haven't researched it, but I'm guessing if you research it, I'm sure there's papers on it. And this is observation and conversation that I've had throughout my life, and very, very specifically, consciously looking at it and almost even studying some of the different things that I have over the past dozen years since my daughter passed away in a car crash. And that is the way that I believe sadness is a drug, and it is because of what it does when we tell somebody certain things about being sad and they respond, right? Like, I've talked about this before. I don't really care for the Facebook posts or the Instagram or whatever posts, pray for me, I can't tell you why kind of thing, and stuff. And that's my pet peeve. Whatever, it is what it is. I'm being honest about it. I think that there's definitely a place for prayer if you need to do it publicly and be that way about it. I would just ask you some questions about it, quite honestly. And that's, again, my opinion. We get some sort of a rush out of response, right? I mean, there's no question about that. I obviously do. You obviously do. The world obviously does. That's why when if I wanted to grow this channel, if I wanted to grow this particular podcast, all I would need to do is I would need to decide what team I'm going to put down and what team I'm going to lift up. And it doesn't matter what team that is, whether it be political or anything, and that would grow it, because you would then create a base. And when you can create the quickest and the most responsive base when you are attacking another team. and I'm not going to do that here. I do have my political opinions. I do have my religious opinions that I talk about here and things like that, but that's not what this is about. So, with that being said, when you have I just thought of this. Hopefully this unwinds in my brain okay, because this is like, having the breakfast with friends here, and we're just, things are rolling off the tongue and the mind. You have somebody that commits a brutal crime, murders their family, and they're here in the United States. You are able to represent yourself in a court of law, and let's say that not only did they represent themselves, let's say they were the judge and the jury and the person who would hand out the sentence, this criminal. Well, that doesn't make any sense. And so when you take a look at this sadness thing and what that looks like, you have to understand that when we're in the middle of things and we're in the middle of this addiction, we don't see it. And so when I see somebody that they have 95% negative things that they're talking about or they're looking at, I'm like, they're in a place that needs that dopamine rush of response, and they found it in sadness. And they get mad at people when they start trying to pull them out of that sadness to look at more of a positive thing. So be aware of that, and be gracious when you approach somebody about how it looks like they might be in kind of a difficult and sad place, because it's never an easy thing to do and approach people in that way. I think it's super important though. And that's just, my thought on it. I'm going to research it a little bit, because I'm pretty certain that there's probably papers on it or books even that how it is actually a drug, an addiction that can happen. So God's love manifests itself in his granting us that we should be called children of God. Now, we are all children of God in the creation sense, in my opinion. What this is referring to in Scripture is that when we are called children of God, or of heaven even, you could say. But at any rate, here's what 1 John 3 says. See how great a love the Father has given us that we would be called children of God. And in fact, we are. For this reason, the world does not know us, because it did not know him, meaning Christ. So when we are attacked by the world and belittled and put down and all those things, this is saying that the world doesn't recognize Jesus Christ as who he is, and therefore they are not children of God or children of heaven in this particular sense. Yes, they are children of creation that God created. I believe that absolutely. But that connection to Christ, what they're talking about in Scripture here, is what we're looking at. And so when we go to the next thing in this, these stages, I suppose you would call them, how God's love manifests itself in his rejoicing over his saved people. And the Bible talks about with joy and singing even. But Zephaniah 3, the Lord your God is in your midst, a victorious warrior. He will rejoice over you with joy. He will be quiet in his love. He will rejoice over you with shouts of joy. Luke 15, the prodigal son. And bring the fattened calf, slaughter it, and let's eat and celebrate. For this son of mine was dead and has come to life again. He was lost and has been found, and they begin to celebrate. I want to leave you with this. I believe that if you're searching God, you're asking questions about Jesus, I believe that even if you're a current believer, that God is just beginning to fulfill his love in our lives. It's beginning to unfold. It's beginning to be manifest, but it can only be fully manifest when we are with him and we join him in heaven, and we will realize and understand fully what that is. And I'll leave us with this on this Friday. 1 John 3. Beloved, now we are children of God, and it has not appeared as yet what we will be, meaning in our completion after we die. We know that when he appears, we will be like him, because we will see him just as he is. We will actually get it in those moments. So I leave you that with this Friday. Stay warm this weekend, and hopefully the beginning of the week as well. Plan to see you on Monday morning at 6:30 again here. So thanks so much. Enjoy the weekend.